Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to today's Next Wave Market Report. I'm Chris here with Elevate Cafe. Let's take a look. We did have a bit more of a decent day in the markets across in terms of risk. We got a few bounces in crypto, which we'll touch in here in a second, and in the equities. The 20-day moving average that you can see here in black, it's the shorter term average. You want the prices to kind of stay above that to continue the uptrend, and then you have a better defense at the 50. I'm talking from just a pure average price perspective in here. I touched yesterday a little bit on this short ABC formation that we're having in here. Now, it is not. It is a good bounce. I would not use this as a buy signal. I would love to see markets in the Qs jump above 635 to trigger for me a buy signal. Until that happens, I'm not willing to take a debate just yet, right? We the fact that we're holding the 20-day is important. The fact that we kind of came back and almost retested this breakout back here, it's fine. So a little bit of a bounce. It's kind of welcome in here. The volume today, I guess, it wasn't that strong in the Qs. I would have to check what it looks like on. This is probably a better measure of volume if you take a look at NDX. And yeah, I guess it's fine, but it wasn't, let's say, out of the ordinary by any stretch. And then we take a look at the S&P, and it's a same story, right? We retested those highs back here from October 20. No, from October 9 and 8, right there, and we're holding above this 20-day moving average. Again, nice bounce. If I were to buy this, I would probably do it above 685. And you can see that was a chart that I've kind of had before in terms of advances versus declines, which is not this chart, it's the next one over this one. It's kind of the first day in a while in here that we've had about two stocks advancing for every one declining, more or less. Up until that point, we've had a bunch of declines in here. You can see how the percentage of the declines versus the advances were much higher. And I don't think we're out of the woods by any stretch, but you can also, you'll see maybe some of this pointed out. We also have quite a bit of deterioration in here in terms of the number of stocks above their 20-day, above their 50-day, and above the 200, which above the 200 we're sitting at about 55%. So about, more than half the stocks are still above their 20-day moving average. Only 40% are above their 50, and 40% are above their 20. So I think, I know people look at this and say it's a massive divergence and it's a big indication that there is no participation. You do get resets. So I've seen plenty of instances where this was heading down and the market was continuing to go. I don't know. It's I guess everybody is looking to kind of maybe feed a little bit the narrative. I don't want to ignore it completely. I can see it, right, that we have less participation as the market is moving higher. So but I will continue to respect price and the way it reacts here first before I look at anything else. So I'm not going to make assumptions just based on that. If one would like to play defensive, sure, you can always buy puts or I don't know, short the market for that reason, buy futures, sell futures, what have you, against positions. There's plenty of ways to hedge. If you're seeing the signals that I just showed you as a sign that the market might sell off. I haven't done much today, so I'm just kind of. Oh no, I did buy Starbucks. Just a small play. We'll see how it goes. But they had some news that they were going to do some kind of labor strikes or that they got the approval to do it, something like that. I'm not really sure. And the price did not go down. If anything, it actually pushed up. So it did not respond to negative news. I'm taking this as a positive signal. We'll see if I'm going to be right on it. We'll see. But it's not a stock that's in a good position technically by that matter. It's just a speculation on the price section. All right, let's take a look and see IWM. It's right at this 50-day, but nice bounce. So it's going to find a little bit of a resistance at the 20-day. We'll see if we're going to be able to go. But I do like the reaction. I do like the volume too. And then let's take a look. I'll come back to Bitcoin, but I want to take a look at the dollar index, which it's hitting its 200-day moving average. So this is very interesting. Also on the weekly time frames, it's coming into a pretty big supply zone right here, right at the 100. We know that that 100 level held a long time. We cracked below it, and now we're going back to it, and we're hitting that declining 20-day moving average. So if the dollar starts to sell off here, it should help risk assets. It should help gold, silver, maybe even Bitcoin. So very important what's going on with the dollar here. If we're going to get a reaction, and if we're finding supply and sellers up here. So it's what I wanted to take a look at in terms of kind of my intermarket analysis. I'm not going to go into a lot of other details, but let's take a look at Bitcoin. And this one, it's been bouncing nicely after a double test of that 99,000. If I go on the weekly time frames, which I like a little bit better because it's cleaner, you can see you kind of have multiple bases, multiple corrections, one after another here, and every time we kind of bottom at that 52-week moving average. Again, I'm between the 40 and the 52. I like to use them both. I like to use the 52 because it's a full year, and it works pretty well. It's a bit smoother. Nice bounce, right from those levels. So that's why, I said, even in Discord today, I said, I want to see how we close the week. Are we going to close below this average? Are we going to close below 100,000? How does the price behave into this week's close? And if we can get back above it, or maybe even close positive, something like this, like with a black kind of a candle, I mean, that would be even better. But again, just because the price acts weak, it doesn't mean that everything is lost. All it tells me is that I don't want to get involved in trading it until I'm seeing sign of buyers come in. And today was the first sign. For me, this is just a touch. It is good, but it's nowhere near enough. So I would love to see. This was 103. This was so we dropped below this low at about 103.5 to 99. So we dropped about 4,000, right? So if we drop by 4,000, I would look at 103 and maybe add another 4,000 here, and I would say maybe about 107, 108. I would be interesting to start to initiate a small position in Bitcoin, and then I'll let that marinate, see how it looks, and if you get stopped out of that one, then it's a very small loss. It's worth it because you're basically buying after buyers come in, and it looks like it might have found a low. And it's just a simple method from kind of back in Livermore times, where you're making a new low and then you fail to make it, and then the market bounces back. And there are some strategies with that, but that would be the first way to kind of touch it. And then if it gets back above 116, then that's the next levels that I would be interested, even back above 112. But that's still, I still wouldn't like that as much as I would love it to get back above 116. And if it is to go to 150, then there's plenty of time from here all the way up there after it breaks this level. But again, going on the weekly, I kind of like what I see. Let's take a look at XRP. And the chart is a bit uglier in here, so I'll give it more time to work itself out. It's got to get back above these averages and above 320 to kind of get me interested. But I think Ethereum looks decent, and maybe tomorrow I'll take a look at the wave count, because this does look kind of highly corrective against a nice impulse, but it's got to break up above these, let's say 4,300 before I would want to do anything with Ethereum. Other than that, it's still not a bad looking chart. So you could see this as a nice impulse and a correction against this guy, and play it that way for further upside once we can see some better setup, a better looking chart here. Solana here, it's still a bit on my radar. It's not doing a whole lot of things wrong either. I mean, it did break above this very key zone, although it's not as clean as in Bitcoin. But again, I'm since we're in such a kind of large uptrend in here, I don't think. I mean, sure, one could make bets that he's going to make a new low below 98 in here, and just say, okay, that's fine, that's an A, that's a B, and then it's followed by a C, which is totally fine. I have nothing against it as long as you know where you're wrong in case it bounces back, and you get out. I'm totally fine with that play. I don't have a problem with it. Since it's still fairly decent in an uptrend, I'm going to look at this, and if Bitcoin is the one that's turning and Ethereum and the other, I think Solana will follow through. So I would probably be a buyer of it back above 215, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I'm not the one to short this. So do with that what you may with that information. All right, I think that's it. So thanks for watching.